Or it'll say good day to you all this day of your time. How are you all? All right. All right, thank you. So, what's new? Anything changed this fall? No? All right. We understand, as we have said, that this would be the fall of 2016 where everything would change, and I think perhaps many of you actually believe us now. The idea, however, is that, as we have said many times, the circumstances themselves aren't the issue. Your state of being always remains the issue. How you respond to what happens is far more important to how you experience your reality than what is actually happening. The idea is to always, as we have also said, make sure that you always allow yourself the opportunity to give the circumstances that do occur a positive and beneficial meaning for you, even if you recognize that there may be things within whatever happens that you don't necessarily prefer. The fact that it happens can still be used by you in a positive way to propel you forward in the way that you actually prefer to be propelled, in the direction you actually prefer to go. You can allow yourself the opportunity to begin to recognize how to look at recent circumstances in a positive way that will allow you to receive a benefit no matter what anyone else chooses to experience. Now, we understand that a lot of you, as you say in your language, are freaking out. But again, there is many, many things that can occur still. Many things are, as you say, up in the air. The greatest effect here is the effect that you call shock and disorientation. But this can be a positive thing if you use it that way. For you are literally now in a place where you are disoriented from your previous reality. You are floating in limbo, many of you, and this is an opportunity for you to create a new reality in a very accelerated way because you have been unlocked by the shock from your previous reality, from any degree of complacency, from any degree of assuming that things would simply move along as they always have. This can be used in a very powerful, transformative way. Look at it like this by analogy, if you are willing to do so. Let's say you are in a little boat, a kayak, whatever you wish to be in, and you're floating down a placid river, all nice and slow and peaceful. And then suddenly you hit some rapids. If you understand how to ride the rapids, you can actually navigate your way through them and get downstream much, much faster than otherwise you would have just floating along on the placid river. So this is an opportunity for you to experience a few rapids. And yes, there may be some bumps. But if you can understand how to stay in the state of being you prefer and allow yourself to ride those rapids with skill and vision, you will find that this is actually something, because of the unlocking, that has given you an opportunity to move very quickly, to accelerate very quickly in the direction of the reality you prefer. This is, at this nexus point right now, one of the major nexus points of the splitting into different parallel realities. One of the things you have been given the opportunity to see very clearly is that, in a sense, you are living in two different countries. Yes? Yes. Almost evenly divided. So the idea is, now that those who have, in your terms, quote unquote, won your election, they now feel capable of allowing themselves to be clear about who they are because they feel safe in doing so. And so this allows you the opportunity to see exactly who they are, and nothing is now hidden. because they think they are free to express themselves no matter in what way may seem non-preferential to you. It gives you a better idea, a much clearer idea, because they are no longer hiding their ideas. They are no longer hiding their perspective, their points of view. No matter how vibrationally incompatible you may find them, they have now exposed themselves for who they are. And thus, this is part of what we have said about you're getting everything out on the table very, very transparently so that you can decide what kind of a world you actually prefer, and they can decide what kind of a world they actually prefer. I will tell you that there are still going to be a few surprises even for them, because the person that they have elected won't necessarily be always doing things the way they thought he would. So this is far from over for a lot of reasons. This is a process that's going to continue for quite some time, and you will see that it will fluctuate quite radically from time to time in a variety of different directions. But nevertheless, what you are really seeing, what you're actually experiencing for the first time more consciously, is literally two side-by-side realities that are reflective of actual parallel reality splitting. So, this is your opportunity to remain in a vibratory state, not be scared, not go negative, not in any way, shape, or form react, but respond with that positive vibration so that you can ride that wave that is now happening and allow yourself to ride it, as we said, in balance, with skill, in the direction that it can propel you toward what you prefer much, much more quickly. This shock wave is literally that, a wave of shock, and it can propel you very rapidly in the direction that you prefer if you use it that way. So please remain in the state of being that you prefer. You have many symbols that are inherent within this particular event that has happened now that are very similar to other events that have happened in terms of their shock ability. As has been pointed out already, you have a very similar energy to what you experienced on what you call 9/11, and it was repeated on 11/9. So you're getting the mirror image and coming out the other side. You have the anniversary at this time of a wall that was torn down and people talking about building another one. So again, you see the polarity and the paradox in these events if you know how to look at them. You know how to read the symbols. Know what kind of a permission slip this is for you. So do not despair. Do not give in and match the vibration of fear and negativity. See this as an opportunity that others may not see, and lead the way by staying in the state of being that you prefer so you can, by example, demonstrate to others how they can also ride this wave. There is no need for the negative reaction. You're only matching the frequency of what you fear. Allow yourself to see this in a very different way, for it is a very powerful, magical opportunity that has unlocked you from an old reality. It is also, in many ways, acted as a safety valve for many kinds of tensions that were existing on your planet. We understand that there may be many other countries on your world that are reacting also with fear to this particular kind of change. But at the same time, if you look around, the ones that were actually, in a sense, most dangerous to you have now actually relaxed their stance because they feel that the person now in charge of your country is someone they can actually speak with. And whether that becomes true or not, the idea is the tensions in the areas that need to be brought down have now gone down. So things have actually smoothed out in those areas because they are of like mind. Now, it may not necessarily be a mind that most of you prefer, But the very fact that they think they can communicate breaks the tension. Do you understand? Yes. So you have to look at the results on a big picture, a big scale, to understand all the ramifications of what's going on here. But you will not be able to see them in a positive way unless you yourself choose to be in a positive state first. Because remember, you cannot perceive what you're not the vibration of. So by staying in a positive state, you will get more opportunity to have inspirations and big picture perspectives that will allow you to see what we're telling you very clearly. That this was an opportunity to unlock from the status quo, because it is one of the most important things that needs to happen in a civilization that's about to have contact with extraterrestrial societies in an open way, is that you get unlocked from the status quo. You have to drift free of all you assumed was normal, of all you took for granted, of the society you thought you were living in, to actually drift over into another vibration of another reality that contains the potential for extra-dimensional contact. And now you are drifting in that limbo. You are unlocked from the status quo. You now are open to the idea that, well, anything can happen now. And that is exactly the state of being you need to be in to actually experience open contact with us and other extraterrestrial and extra-dimensional beings. So this is working in your favor. And it is, in that sense, a gift you have been given, even though it may not necessarily have been the intention of those that gave it to you. Because things work in mysterious ways, do they not? And you can always see the positive and the negative and choose which one you prefer. Now, I will share something else with you. That also is a precursor and leading up to the idea of change in many areas on your planet, but specifically we are still going to focus on your particular country. Many of you have known for quite some time that our ship is above the area you call Sedona, Arizona. Yes? Yes. And we have talked about the idea that we are connected to the vortex, a very powerful vortex in that area. And we have been pumping energy and vibrations into that vortex so that it can contain more potential for discovering yourself, more potential for awakening into who you truly are, more potential for extraterrestrial contact. Now, here's the trick. As you watched on your election night your country maps, yes, and you had your blue states and your red states popping up and you're not ready to count yet. And as you started to see more and more and more red, yes, more blue states previously flipping to red, yes, and you saw a huge swath of red through the middle of your country, yes, and then you saw one little arm of red come over and go down to what? Arizona. Now there's a link to that vortex for all those that consider themselves to be in the red areas, and the vibration of our energy can now begin to slowly leak and follow that path up into the red areas and start to blossom in all the little vortices that exist in those areas, so that unbeknownst to a lot of people, they will suddenly be bathed in an energy they quite not figure out what's happening. To change their mind, to change their perspective, they will be given an opportunity to have more of that energy by creating a connective link for themselves in that way to that vortex without even knowing what they're doing. But we know what's going on, and we know how to take advantage of that and allow our energy to blossom in those areas. Doesn't mean someone has to pay attention to it, but it affords more opportunity for that energy because they're all considering themselves now to be united. And they will look at that pathway in their own way, but they will not see the underground pathway that we see for that energy to leak into all of those areas. So that will also help promote the idea of opening up minds, opening up and changing perspectives, and allowing them to reconsider and see more clearly the choices that they are making. And you may see some very surprising changes going on in that area over the years to come, between your year now and your year of 2020. With respect to the idea of contact, with respect to the idea of the disclosure of the presence of us and other extraterrestrials, not saying it's going to happen, so please do not misquote us. But there is a higher probability now of disclosure actually happening. Because what do you have in the position of power? Someone who simply does what they think is cool. And makes them look good. Hey, what if I told everyone that the aliens are real? Wouldn't that make me stand out above everyone else? Narcissist that I am. So there is actually a potential for someone who is typically a loose cannon to let something slip that they think might actually make them look good, regardless of what others may actually prefer them to do or not do. So the idea is, even though they may think they can rely on their candidate, they're going to get a few surprises. Now, the idea is to also allow yourself to remember that the affiliations of that person are actually much broader than you may think. They have actually come from an opposite political party. Yes? You understand the background? And they are allowing cracks to happen through which other kinds of energies and interests will come in that, again, many may think will serve their agenda, but may be surprised to find will actually serve an opposite agenda in time. So this has actually allowed them, in their complacency, to open up cracks and not pay attention to certain things that are leaking in. Such as the fact, and what may seem to be extremely paradoxical to you, that the focus on the election was so intense that those opposed to legalizing marijuana didn't know what hit them. Weren't paying attention. And suddenly, that passed. And so you see the ideas working for you in a variety of ways, kind of like what you call your little magic trick of the cups and the balls. And where's the ball now? Where's the ball now? Where's the ball now? Oh, look over here. Oops, you missed it. So again, there are opportunities that are here for you that are peppered throughout this experience, this event. You just know how to look and how to find them by staying in the positive state. And with regard to the idea of disclosure, you will find that at this time, whether it's this individual or not, things have been accelerated in a different way, along a different path. Doesn't mean it was the same path as before, but it may actually allow for more probabilities and more opportunities to open up, more cracks to form in the status quo, so that things may crumble in such a way as to allow for new things to come in much more quickly than before, than the status quo itself may have actually allowed. We're not talking here about the idea of the integrity or lack thereof of any individual or who you may have preferred because they represent something that you are in alignment with. We're talking about the idea of exactly how your society needs to change to open up to new things that you all say you would like to happen, that you would prefer to have happen. And sometimes those things can only happen in the most unexpected ways, when things do create a shock wave within your consciousness, so that you're finally willing to truly let go of the status quo and realize that you really can't predict for yourselves a lot of the things that are going to be happening. All bets are off for you. And this is a sparkling opportunity, because now you can decide in this limbo state really where the ball on the wheel you're spinning will fall. But the idea of the analogy of roulette is that now there are two balls on the roulette wheel that represent the two different parallel realities. But the wheel is still spinning. They haven't really fallen yet. No matter how it may look, they haven't fallen yet. And when they do, you will see more and more and more acceleration in the split of the two realities, and more shifts and changes going on either side until they finally settle out and you really start to feel the drifting apart of those two realities. And with regard to disclosure, you will find that as the pathways are laid out now, and as the probabilities have increased for alternate paths to such and to open contact, that sometime between now and certainly no later than the idea of 2025, some form of disclosure of our presence will occur. There is another demarcation point in your year of 2020. It might happen before, it might happen after. There are still many things in flux, many things in fluctuations that cannot be in any way, shape, or form predicted. All you need to know is that you have unleashed many more probabilities for you to take advantage of to allow yourself to ride that wave in the direction of what you prefer, if you will just learn to look at it that way. Is it a deal? Yes. All right. Then we thank you for allowing us to share this perspective with you. There will be more to come. And in return for the gift that you are giving us, we ask now, how may we be of service to you? You may begin with your questions if you wish.